Meanwhile, here are some of the views which were expressed at the 28th anniversary celebration of the Sri Lanka Mahajana Party.
A country which cannot build unity has no future. We may have won the war, but if we fail to build one nationality, then we have lost the war again. The efforts we took under President Mahinda Rajapaksa are now being put into action through the Mahinda Chintanaya. The war has been won, terrorism has been defeated, an obstacle to peace and unity was removed. The challenge we have before us is to rise as one nation. This must be done. Although we have defeated terrorism, we have not yet removed the seeds of terrorism from the land where it was planted. Therefore, we must remove the seeds of terrorism from this land which has been reddened with blood. And we must build a nation where Tamils, Muslims, Sinhalese, Burghers, Malays and every ethnicity can live in harmony. We reject the centralization of power. Power must be devolved fairly to every section of the population. Therefore, a new political system where power flows down from the center must be established.
කේන්ද්‍රගත කළ තියෙන දේශපාලන බලයේ අධිකාරය පරිදි දක්වා දුවන්නා වූ නව දේශපාලන ක්‍රමයක් ස්ථාපිත කරන්න වෙනවා.
Two months after the defeat of terrorism, the discussion on an all-party representative committee came to the force once again. Tonight on our special segment 13+, we look at the developments in the dialogue on the devolution of power from that point onwards.
Following the defeat of terrorism in May 2009, the dialogue on finding a solution to the national problem came up again in July 2009. In that month, an all-party representative committee convened again. Appointing parliamentarian Anura Kumara Disanayaka as its representative to the committee, the General Secretary of the Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna, Tilvin Silva, notified the government that discussions must be held with agreement upon the agenda. In the midst of the process of the all-party representative committee, the dialogue on the devolution of power began to seesaw. It is no secret that the topic was brought up once again with the visit of Indian Minister of External Affairs S.M. Krishna to the island. He arrived in Sri Lanka against a backdrop where the Presidential Commission on Lessons Learnt and Reconciliation had submitted its report after studying events in the last stages of the war, and international attention was focused on Sri Lanka. While he met with President Mahinda Rajapaksa and held discussions, prior to this, representatives of the Tamil National Alliance had met with him to express their views. On the 17th of January, the Indian External Affairs Minister stated that the President had told him that he was committed to a process to find a solution to the national problem which goes beyond the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, or simply put, the 13th Amendment plus approach. Tomorrow on 13+, we look at the views expressed by representatives of various political parties on the 13th Amendment plus approach.
The dialogue on the devolution of power has come to the attention of most people today. Here are some of the views expressed regarding this on the political stage.
The Sinhala, Muslim and Tamil people of the north and east have been victims of the war. They have been displaced. They have been killed. When providing a solution to these people, all parties must join together and arrive at a decision. Therefore, His Excellency the President has extended an invitation to all parties in Parliament, and we will present our party's proposal. The President and the government are prepared to take all the steps to resolve this problem through discussion. We can see some are pulling at legs due to foreign influences. Instead, if we work with love for our country, our motherland, if we dedicatedly work for the people of the country, then we can come to a consensus with unity.
13+ කියන්නේ එතන තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න ගැන අපි කතා කරන්න ඕනේ.
When talking of 13+, we must speak of the problem there. Can police powers be granted there? No, they can't. We are still completely opposed to this. The Muslim people are against it, and the Tamil people are against it. The Sinhala people are also against it. It cannot be given to the Tamil Chief Minister. Tomorrow, a Muslim could become the chief minister in the eastern province. If it is given to him, then the Sinhala and Tamil people will lose trust. So we can talk about police powers in the eastern province only after the people are living in peace and harmony and everything is complete. There are some questions which must be spoken of concerning land. These powers must be granted.
ඉඩම් සම්බන්ධයෙන් සමහර ප්‍රශ්න වල කතා කරන්න ඕනේ අතවසම. ඒ බලය දෙන්න ඕනේ.
අපේ රටේ අද මේ තැන් වල කෑ ගැව්වට 13 වෙනි සංශෝධනය හොඳ නරක අනාදි වශයෙන් මේ රටේ සියලුම පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී සියලුම පළාත් සභා
Today in various places in the country, people are shouting about the good and evil of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. All parliamentarians, provincial councillors, local government councillors and all state officials took oaths in accordance with the constitution of this country, and the 13th Amendment is part of that constitution. None of us said this when we took oaths, therefore none of us can be opposed to it. It is part of the constitution. If there are problems in its implementation with regard to land powers or police powers, then we can resolve them through discussions in a parliamentary select committee.
The 150th Jubilee of the St. Mary's Church in Nayakakanda was held today. The chief guest at the event was Prime Minister T.M. Jayaratne. The service was conducted by Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Right Reverend Dr. Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit.
At times all of us are selfish because of our different ethnicities, languages or religions. Therefore we cannot extend our hand to another ethnicity. That is why there are divisions between the Sinhala and Tamil communities in Sri Lanka. That is why there are many obstacles for us to work together as a nation, even after a 30-year-long war. We see this as an unhealthy sign in our society. We are not cured as a nation.
The Diatakira National Development Exhibition continued into its second day today.
The 6th Diatakira exhibition is being held in the State Farming Grounds in Oyamaduwa, which comes under the Mahavilachya Divisional Secretariat in the Anuradhapura district. President Mahinda Rajapaksa toured the media zone of the exhibition today. The exhibition, which is being held parallel to the 64th Independence Anniversary celebrations, is spread out over a vast 500 acres. State and private exhibition stalls and exhibition stalls of the 3 armed forces have been established at this exhibition. News First is conducting screen tests at our mobile studio in the media zone for talented children. A large group arrived for screen tests yesterday as well. The exhibition is open to the public from 9 a.m. to midnight daily and is scheduled to conclude on the 10th of this month.
You're watching News First. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the news tonight.
Tonight on the road to the White House.
You know, this is not the first time you gave me your vote of confidence, and this time I'm going to take it to the White House.
Nevada Republicans favor Mitt Romney in caucus's vote. Details of this story and much more on the News First International Desk.
Welcome back to the news. Sri Lankans across the world marked the 64th Independence Day yesterday. However, we cannot limit honouring the memories of our national heroes who fought for our freedom to just one day. Therefore, tonight we honour the memories of these valiant heroes.
Following the 1818 uprising, the English rulers suppressed the people of the Uvavelas area and the people of Sri Lanka to such an extent that the next uprising for freedom took place 40 years after 1818. In 1848, many heroes arose up against the suppression of the British. Heroes such as Gongale Godabanda, Veerapurannappu and Hangurankata Dingirala were the heroes of the 1848 uprising. Under the guidance of Giranegama Indrajyothi Thera of the Dambula Vihara, Gongale Godabanda was crowned the king of the Sinhalese at the Dambula temple, while Hangurankata Dingirala was named as the heir to the throne.
When this hero, this national treasure, led the Battle of Matale, the Mahasangha gave their blessings and security to him. I am the 6th grandson of this family tree.
Rebellions arose in many parts of the country under this leadership, while Matale proved to be the main battleground. We travelled to this ancient battleground. Unfortunately, the Sinhalese weren't able to claim an outright victory through this battle. The Englishmen, who believed that they had won the battle, also laid down their mark at the location. Veerapuannappu was yet another brave hero.
Mage mawa mawani tawa 4 deneku bihi kala nam parasuddan ekekවත් මේ රටේ ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
This was the last statement made by our brave hero after he was murdered by the Englishmen on the 8th of August 1848 at the Bogambra grounds in Kandy. Several of our great heroes who perished in the Battle of Matale were laid to rest at this location. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you more on our national heroes who will forever remain etched in our memories.
At a media briefing on Friday in Colombo, the International Monetary Fund noted that it is the government of Sri Lanka which needs to decide whether it wants to draw the remaining disbursements under the standby arrangement. Economist Dr. Harshit De Silva says that the reason for Sri Lanka being unable to obtain the loan is because the central bank is not willing to let the real value of the rupee be reflected in the market.
As you know, I mean, we've completed 6 reviews so far. Once we complete a review, there's 2 more remaining, right? As you alluded to, the $800 million remaining. Once we complete a review, then the money is made available to the government. It's up to them to decide whether they want to draw the disbursement or not. At this point, there's been no concrete discussions with the government about their plans for drawing or not with us. But it's up to the government. It's not really it's not our decision, and we don't have a view on it.
If we need the money, then we need the money. We have to look at what is our best option. The reason why we are unable to take this loan is not because we don't want to take that loan. We are unable to take it because the central bank is not willing to let the real value of the rupee be reflected in the marketplace. So unless the central bank is willing to have a market reflective exchange rate, we are not going to be able to take the money that is available for us at the IMF. What the governor has tried to do by increasing 50 basis points of the repo and the reverse repo rates is not going to be able to solve this enormous problem of the crisis that we are seeing with the balance of payments.
Dr. Harsh De Silva also said that if Sri Lanka borrows from the international market this year, it will be for at least twice the rate of the weighted average interest rate of the IMF.
So if you really look at the weighted average cost of this loan, even if we take the 2 other tranches, for the entire amount of 2.6 billion, will be about 1.7%. Now that you compare with the commercial loans that we currently have on our portfolio. If you look at what is coming due in October, the $500 million, the sovereign bond is at 8.25%. So there are 2 issues there. One is Mr. Cabral says, look, we don't need any more money. Then it is of no consequence whether we take the IMF money or whether we don't take the IMF money. But I don't believe him. There is, in my mind, a real need for more US dollar requirements. So if that is the case, and if we borrow in the international markets this year, we will definitely be borrowing at least twice as high as the marginal IMF rate, or 3 times as high, or 4 times as high as the weighted average interest rate from the IMF.